I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. As always, welcome by the one and only main of the hour, too sweet to be sour. My friend and yours, Angel Ortega. Guys, Christmas edition of the Courtside Soundoff podcast.
By the way, can I just say the intro is going to be so fucked later when I put this into editing?
Really? Why?
Because it was so quick. I don't even know what part it picked up, but it was
ladies and gentlemen, you know what? We can restart it.
No, we're good. We're leaving this in now.
We're leaving this in? Yeah. We're leaving this in, okay? It's a big week, guys. The Soundoff Awards, my favorite show of the year. Your favorite show of the year as well, I'm sure.
Wait, really? You don't like the show we do on my birthday?
I didn't know that was... shit, my bad. Anyways, cut that. No, we gotta...
Wait, are we live?
We'll do it live. Fuck it. All right, so we got a big award show planned. Usyk Fury recap. We'll talk about all that. Really, no news has come out this week, but we have one piece of news. It's the funny one. We'll talk about it. Before we break into the action, folks, few sponsors of the show: Rogue Energy, ELYXR. Code Soundoff at checkout. All caps when you spell the brand's name at checkout for 10% off your items. We're a few days away from Christmas, but if you have not bought somebody, something yet, maybe you can go to Rogue Energy, use code Soundoff, 10% off. ELYXR get your friends, your family really high with code Soundoff. Check out. However, Angel, I have a gift to you, my friend. I have a gift to you. That gift is that you can get up to $1,500 in bonus bets paid back to BetMGM if you don't have an account. In fact, it's an offer that I'll extend to the Soundoff audience out there for Christmas. Christmas only, totally, of course.
Christmas only. Yo, is this limited time?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, depends on how the deal goes, right? How many people sign up? Jokes aside, you can follow that link down below. BetMGM. Really, no MMA, no boxing this week, but there's still NFL, there's still NBA, there's still other sports happening that I don't watch. But if you do watch them, you can go ahead and follow the link down below. Get a $1,500.
Come on, Josh, you're not watching cricket this weekend?
Oh, dude, I'm fired up, excited for the rugby final or some shit. I don't know. I don't know. Out of bowling, maybe is bowling a sport that I can
some pro bowling?
Yeah, pro bowl. Dude, I'm such a degenerate. I'm doing betting on pro bowling. Dude.
Betting on swimming matches. Actually, I'm going to go on BetMGM right now and see what's coming up.
Really?
I'm actually curious.
For the people out there?
No, I'm just curious to see if we have like some random ass sport in here. Got tennis in here. I mean, I guess we can bet on tennis.
Yeah, dude. I actually bet on professional wrestling, dude.
Can you actually bet on WWE?
I think like DraftKings or like other.
Don't mention them. We don't know them.
Oh, I've never actually heard of that company.
Yeah, ignore that last part.
There are certain companies out there that like have like you can place.
Yeah.
Like you can pick who's gonna win, but I think like because it's not a real sport, you can't put money down on it. It's like a free to play game.
What the fuck?
I think they just have a deal with the WWE.
Okay.
So, but
yeah, unnamed company. The only company you should know is BetMGM. You can follow that link down below. That's it. And rebet.
That's it. Yeah, and rebet code Soundoff. Although, from my understanding, that's something I talk to you more about at the end of the show.
Oh, okay.
We didn't do anything wrong. It's just a different issue. That being said,
okay.
Yeah, no, we're cool.
All right.
That sounded way worse to you guys, but anyway. So we're gonna.
This is why we leave it. This is why this is the unedited,
unscripted. Look, Errol Hawani. Yeah, I'm sure he edited some shit out.
He edited it live on air too.
Yeah, he's that powerful. God damn it. No. But anyway,
the almighty, all-powerful Joe Rogan. Wait, what?
Huh? Joe Rogan? Is that you mean the Republican commentator, Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
You mean Rush Limbaugh? That's who he fucking
Speaking
is.
About all that, isn't Elon going to be in some power position?
Yeah, you know about this? He's going to lead the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, because like apparently like there are no requirements. If you're just a rich guy, you're like, fuck it, bro, straight to the top of politics, dude.
That's pretty badass.
I mean, that's something. That's not the word I'd use, but it's something, Hey, he ducked Mark Zuckerberg though. Don't forget that pussy. Just saying. Hey man, I'm saying if Mark Zuckerberg still wants to fight, I'll step up. I'm just saying.
Can you believe those guys were talking about fighting in the Roman Coliseum at one point?
No, well, they were talking about it. They were never going to do it.
Could you imagine?
No, I actually can't. I can never imagine Elon Musk doing anything.
Wouldn't it be cool if we had UFC fights in the Roman Coliseum?
That'd be pretty badass. That'd be one of those things that's like really badass.
What if someone killed someone like just in the moment? They're like, we are in the Roman Coliseum. Just whip out a knife.
Just dude, fucking John Jones whips out a gun.
No, not even a gun, dude. I'm talking like, Brian Barberena versus, X Fighter, and he just fucking slices some guy's throat right there in the octagon. I was thinking about a guy who's like do or die.
He does the Roadhouse, like the Roadhouse reboot. He just doesn't get off of him. He just keeps on fucking hit him and kills the guy, Which, by the way, in that movie, why didn't he go to prison? Is that just me? Why was his punishment to become a bouncer at a bar? He killed a guy.
It's an imperfect movie, Josh.
I'm just saying. I mean,
he had millions of dollars with him. I mean, you see what? I'm not gonna say that. you already know where I was
going. I knew exactly where you were gonna go.
Unnamed Irish fighter.
Oh man, hey man, you're better off rich and guilty than poor and innocent, man. That's all I'm gonna say. So, anyways, folks, all that to break into Oleksandr Usyk versus Tyson Fury going down over the weekend. Kingdom Arena, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Just one of the biggest boxing matches of the year that we're talking about.
History once again being less history because the IBF sucks, but from the Soundoff heavyweight champion is Oleksandr Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Courtside Soundoff magazine champion.
Damn straight. Hey man, Turkey Al Sheikh, if you need some new riders for that Ring magazine,
man,
brother,
fuck Ring magazine. We got our own shit. Yeah, you heard me, Ring magazine. You fucking suck.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm a big fan of the support out. I'm trying to get a job here, man. But anyways,
I was fucking about. Just so you guys know, Ring magazine. I was joking. I do appreciate what you
I was actually thinking about buying like the print edition whenever they start doing them.
It was funny. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
So really Ring magazine. I actually have no issue.
We're on the same page. So
literally and figuratively.
And still, the Ring heavyweight champion of the world is Oleksandr Usyk fighting.
Still the Courtside Soundoff magazine champion.
Damn straight, out of Ukraine. Look, man, heading into this rematch, I wasn't really sure what we were going to see. Tyson Fury ended up weighing in 20 pounds heavier than the first fight.
Why were these fuckers saying 50?
Well, he had a 55-pound weight advantage. That's what it was.
My bad.
So he weighed 55 pounds more than Usyk, who he gained 3 pounds. Usyk did for the rematch. Fury was like, fuck that, put on 20 pounds, okay? And, for the rematch, like, I picked Usyk, you picked Fury, and we were we were on the same page as far as, like, Fury was going to make...
man.
That's true. But we were on the same page as far as, like, he's going to make adjustments. And for the first 6 rounds, we're like, okay, he's made the adjustments. He looked clean. Not only did he look clean out there, he was landing more than just the uppercuts. That's kind of like the only main shot he had success with. He was landing the right straight. He was having success with his jab. He was putting the pressure on. For the first 6 rounds, they were fighting like they were featherweights out there. They were throwing a lot of shots.
What was the total,
number?
Do we have the compu box numbers
I
on
bet
it?
I could pull it up, the compu box.
I did just think about that. I was like, damn, these guys did. You were right. They did put. By the way, I missed the first 3 or 4 rounds.
Here we go.
Just as a heads up.
Okay, so you can kind of see there. So for the first half of the fight,
what was the total punches? Is there a total punch?
The exact total amount. Fury went 157 of 496 for 31% completion percentage. Usyk outlanding him 170 to 407, 41% clip for Usyk.
Wow.
So he outlanded him, but both guys threw a lot of shots. But you could see around round 6.
I wonder what the heavyweight average is.
Around round 6, Fury throws 48 punches. He would not reach that figure again for the rest of the fight. You see his output start going down, and he was very defensively. The thing I will say he improved on a lot, very defensively active. He was not letting himself get hit.
His exits were really good.
Very good exits.
At times.
Yeah.
At times,
there were still a couple 1-2s that landed. There were a few big combinations late down the stretch, but Usyk, for the most part, didn't land as much. But he was staying busier and ended up winning 116, 112 across all scorecards, which was shocking to me. The fact that there was no differences in the scorecards was insane.
But they didn't have Adelaide Bird there.
That's true. They did not have Adelaide Bird. If this fight was in Vegas, Tyson Fury has 1 less loss, and Adelaide Bird has another Ferrari. No fucking. Anyways,
bounty increases.
Yeah, right. Jokes aside, man, Fury looked good early. Usyk, it was kind of a repeat of the first fight, but without that 9th round, kind of dramatic moment. Usyk came down the stretch late. How did you score the fight? Obviously, you don't have to give me your exact scorecard, but how did you feel? Some people thought Fury did win. Some thought,
In the moment, I didn't score it. I kind of regret not, but I just wanted to enjoy the boxing match for what it was. And like I told you at the start, I missed the first 3 or 4 rounds, and But from what I saw, it seemed like they were split. I think half Usyk or mainly Usyk, and then the other half were Fury's. I think if it was the first 4 rounds that I missed out on. Nevertheless, though, I mean, as far as the boxing match itself and what I thought, dude, it was good. It was good. It was tight. It was very competitive. It wasn't one-sided traffic, which I think was important. I thought Fury looked better. I thought Usyk looked good, which is crazy because I think his last performance was even better than this. I don't think he could have done better than what he did in the first fight. I think he was only going to do less in the second fight, but I'm not saying in a negative sense. Just less than what the first performance was, because I feel like the first performance, I'm not going to say damn near flawless, but it was peak.
Yeah.
It was peak of what this matchup could be. And I think for Fury, this second fight was the best he was ever going to do, too.
Yeah.
I don't think he could have done much better. I think he did all that he could physically do in that match. I don't think there was much more beyond what he showed us, which is completely fine. That's just the state of how he is against Usyk, and he's just a hard puzzle to figure out, and no one's done it yet.
This is not my own comp. This is Luke Thomas who said this, so I have to give him credit. He is he's like a cruiserweight / heavyweight Floyd Mayweather. If you don't win enough rounds in the first 6, you're fucked. Down the stretch, he's gonna figure you out. He might knock you out, or he's gonna beat the shit out of you for the last 6.
Also, those rounds were close. Like, that's something we didn't mention. Like, those rounds were genuinely close. The only issue was it's like Fury would do good, but then Usyk would make up for whatever Fury did. Like, whatever Fury did, he was able to find somehow in that round to make up for it and make seem what Fury did less. Even though Fury looked good and the round looked good for him, it wasn't enough in the judges' eyes because of what Usyk was doing.
Yeah, if Fury came, and this happened too, like, he fought a great fight. And you can see, compared to the first fight, I thought he did better, even though the scorecards didn't indicate that. But I thought he did better in this fight. He avoided, like I said, better defensively competent, landed some big shots. He didn't rock Usyk at any point like in the first fight, but he tried to outpoint him, and I thought he had a great game plan, dude. He tried to get in there, he tried to
go to the body
a lot, tried to lean on him, tried to weigh on him. He was hoping that like kind of a more weight would provide more punching power. He didn't really provide that, but hey, it didn't really make a difference in the end. He still went to 12, and he still looked decent,
I feel like he never like really sat, well, at least none that I can remember off the top of it. Do you really remember him ripping any? Like,
I remember there was like one right hand he landed, like just flush around.
I would say Usyk did let it rip a few times. It didn't land, but he did set his feet, plant his feet, and throw some punches whenever the time, whenever it was warranted. But I felt like Usyk never really was like, let me plant my shit right now.
Exactly.
Teach this kid what I can do. I feel like everything was usually moving, or when he was moving forward, but there was never any sort of like, okay, let me bite down and throw him a good one right here and see what I can do.
I agree with you. I think this fight, and I feel bad, in a way, I feel bad for Tyson Fury, man, because it's like this guy went out there and like, I don't want to say he did everything right, but like, it's similar to what happened with Anthony Joshua. This guy went out there and he fought a better fight the second time around. The issue, Oleksandr Usyk also made adjustments,
and it just wasn't.
It just wasn't enough, dude. Like, it's just like,
and it's funny because Usyk looked probably. Well, actually, I don't remember. Which one do you think? Did Usyk look better in the first Joshua fight or second Joshua fight?
I thought he looked better in the second one because the first fight was him kind of outpointing Joshua. Like I remember he
beat him
in
a different
12.
way.
Yeah, he hurt him in round 12, but beyond that, there wasn't a lot of like over kind of action. Maybe you need to rewatch it. The second fight, Joshua came out and was throwing fucking bombs. Nearly finished Usyk at I think round 9 or something. But Usyk after the round, he was like, fuck, I gotta come back. And I gotta give that back. And similar to the like what you just said in the rematch of Fury, like Usyk would go out there and get tagged by Joshua in the second fight. He's like, you know what, I gotta get that shit back right now. And he went out there and did that and nearly finished him. I thought he looked better in the second fight. This one is a little bit more different, but it's similar in the way that it's like both fights were dramatic. Both fights he looked great in. I don't know if I had to think against Fury which one he looked better in, but I'd probably go the rematch.
What's next, dude? It doesn't even seem like he really knows.
See, that's what I wanted to talk about next. So Fury, that's it. Okay, he's definitely gonna keep on fighting for a lot of money, presumably. But as far as the fight with Usyk, could they have a trilogy somewhere down the line? Weirder things have happened.
I mean, under the right circumstances, let's say yes.
Yeah, I mean, 2 very close fights. Weirder things have happened. It's boxing, like we had to watch Chisora Fury 3, so why not? You know what I mean? Like,
you ain't lying.
So,
by the way, what do you think are the odds of Fury Joshua happening now?
So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to help out our friend Turkey Al-Sheikh. I'm going to.
You think Turkey needs your help, Josh? Do you see the kind of shit this man has provided?
I don't think Turkey needs my help, but I'm gonna give my advice to Turkey. Okay. With the way the situation is at heavyweight, I think there's a few solid matchups we can do to get things back on the right track. Because essentially it was just like, okay, boom, fight's done. We're almost at a new era this point. You know, like we're fresh faces. We're on the move. Okay, Usyk has no next clear fight. But here's what's going to happen. He's going to fight the winner of Joseph Parker, Dana Dubois. That fight's happening in late February. They can fight in the summer, okay? Who do I think would win? Everybody thinks Dubois. I think Joseph Parker may go out there and fuck up the whole show. Like he's done for like 3 fights in a row now. Beat Deontay Wilder, upset him, upset Zhilei Zhang. It'd be very fitting for him to fuck up a rematch between Dubois and Usyk. Not that I really want to see that fight, but whatever. So then what do you do? Well, Fury, AJ Wembley. Come on, dude. It's the easiest fight you can make. Both coming off title fight losses. Both still huge names. Both still arguably number 2 and 3. Well, not 2 and 3.
Do you think it'd still be as grand and as great as it can be, even despite the loss?
Absolutely. Not a doubt in my mind.
Okay, good.
Because both guys came out of these fights still having their reputation intact. You know, maybe AJ less so because he got knocked out, but even then it was like, okay, this guy got knocked out 5 times, was a warrior out there.
Oh, so it's England versus England.
Yeah, and people forget. Like the whole reason he lost and got caught against Dubois in that 5th round. Because he nearly knocked out Dana Dubois coming back after 4 knockdowns. Like that's some heart. I
forgot about that. Yeah,
that's some heart and spirit right there. So and then for Fury, it's 2 razor close fights, man. So that's 2 fights right there. Okay.
And the Ngannou, you know that one was a close one.
He could easily be 0-3. You know, hey, I'm just saying. Speaking of Ngannou,
was he there? Was His Excellency there? I mean,
Ngannou? His Excellency Francis Ngannou was in attendance. So
the King of Cameroon.
This is my follow up. Okay. This is kind of like a little bit more iffy.
Bro, put him on the undercard.
Deontay Wilder versus Francis Ngannou. But if there's one man who's been rumored to come back, and that man is Vladimir Klitschko. If Vladimir Klitschko comes back, you run him against Wilder. That's a fight that could have happened. It did not happen back in 2015, 2016 when they were both kind of around.
Would that be good? Even now?
I don't know. But the thing is that they both want to fight back to title shots, and they're both kind of on the... Wilder looks like he should be retired. Vlad looks like he may come out of retirement. It provides both guys a chance to get what they want, which would be a shot.
How old's Klitschko now?
He is 47. He'd break the record for oldest heavyweight champion.
And then Wilder's pushing 40?
He's 38, 39. But there's no way you can give Klitschko a title shot, which is what he wants.
Without a relevant major win.
So he needed to go in there and beat somebody. And Deontay Wilder is still a huge name. If Vlad's not coming back, you run Ngannou Wilder. That's easy. But
what if they ran Wilder versus Ngannou? Winner gets Klitschko.
I wouldn't hate that. But I think at that point, you're putting Vlad at you're giving him another year off probably because they won't fight until probably at least the summer. So it's I don't know. I think if Vlad's coming back, Wilder.
By the way, isn't it confirmed at this point that Ngannou's next competition will be in the boxing ring, not in the MMA?
That's what it seems to be. That's all indicators are pointing that way. Yeah. So
what if he gets Fury again? Do you think they could just do Fury?
They could do Fury again. They could do Fury and Ngannou again. I'd be surprised if they did it
because they could do money with Joshua and Fury, which would be
and Ngannou Fury fight's always there, whereas Joshua Fury they've missed it so many times. This is the only you're running out of windows to make.
And right now is it's closed.
Exactly. Ngannou Fury, nobody even wanted that fight the first time it happened.
Whoever loses to that, it's gonna be sad.
It's gonna be real sad. It's the end of their era essentially. But that's why the fight has to happen.
Oh man,
that's why the fight has to happen. So
we already banished Wilder. Now we're going to banish one of the 2 Brits.
Here's the other thing I'll add on there. If Ngannou Wilder cannot happen, you run Wilder Klitschko, and then you give Ngannou the winner of Derek Chisora versus Otto Wallin going down in February. Or you can get crazy, throw Martin Bakole in there, or Moses Itama, who scored a knockout win.
Oh wait, I heard on MK they said that Martin Bakole fought Ngannou, that Martin Bakole would murk Ngannou.
Martin Bakole would fuck him up.
Okay, I just had to confirm it.
And I hate to say it as a big Ngannou fan. I just think stylistically, that's a guy who moves forward, hard hitting, good speed. He's not Fury. You can stay in there as an Ngannou type in your first boxing match because he's not the hardest hitter. He's historically his entire career was more of a defensive guy. And then once he got dropped, he's like, oh fuck, I gotta stay on my bike and just try and get out of here with a win. Martin Bacole's gonna go in there and try and fuck up your entire day.
I kind of wonder, if he did beat Fury, what would have been the next? I mean, it would have been a rematch, right?
Would have been a rematch. They had a contractual rematch, I think. So we would have a rematch. But also, I don't remember if they had a rematch.
It's kind of crazy how the universe would have been if he would have won that, right?
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, he would have been the lineal heavyweight champion of the world and the lineal UFC heavyweight champion of the world. That's something we're never going to see again, and that's one of the reasons why I still bring up Ngannou versus Fury, because even though it's been 2 years now, it's still one of those things that lives in your mind. That's just insane.
Where were you?
Look at every other guy who's gone to the boxing ring in front of MMA. They've all gotten fucked up.
I'm going to say, dude, Usyk, I mean, he did drop, but Fury never mind.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Yeah.
He did, never mind.
Yeah. Derek Chisora didn't.
I'll tell you.
Fucking
let him know, motherfucker.
Yeah,
exactly. Otto Wallin could have dropped.
Vladimir Klitschko couldn't drop him.
Yeah, no.
So, hey, man, shout out Frank Ngannou. That's just how I'm just trying to lay out the division. I'm just saying, if there's so many ways you could take the heavyweight division after Fury, Usyk too, and I just think that's the way to go. Usyk is the winner of Dubois, Parker. Then you have Fury, AJ, Wilder, Deontay Wilder against Francis Ngannou / if Vladimir Klitschko's coming back, throw him in there, and then Ngannou versus maybe Martin Bakole or something. That's what I'm liking. But that's just a way to get a division back on track. I think those are all huge fights, and you can see every single one of them. So that's my thoughts. Yeah, I think we spent enough time. I don't know what else we can say about this fight. Excellent fight, history made. Love to see it, and we got that last big boxing match of the year. But that being said, Angel, it's time. It's time to break
Bruce
into.
Buffer?
It's time for the 2024 Courtside Soundoff Awards. Okay, so as always, folks, we have a variety of awards to give out.
Can you list them out so the people know what we're going to be talking?
So let's just list them down. We have our fight of the year. Typically, we throw in top 3 fights of the year. I'm not sure if you have any.
Or just favorite fights of the year.
Favorite fights of the year. This one's less solid, but whatever. Top fights of the year, upset of the year, event of the year, breakout fight of the year. We're doing moment of the year, correct? I mean, we did it last year.
I guess we can do it this year again.
There's still, I think there's one very obvious one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it really matters.
Yeah,
but
like there are 2. You can even say 2.
All right. Breakout fighter of the year, boxer of the year, and then for the first time ever, DTF fighter of the year, and then our female and male fighters.
Wait, do you not have a rookie of the year and then breakout fighter of the year in there?
I did. I said breakout fight of the year. I did not have rookie of the year because I figured that's kind of like the same thing. We can have rookie of the year.
So the one I think what we said was rookie of the year was a guy who made his debut this year in the UFC, like fought his first year. If it's a contender series guy, the contender series does not count. It's a separate thing. I thought that was a fair way to do it.
All right.
And then breakout fighter of the year was a fighter that
made it to the rankings.
Not necessarily made it to our rankings. I wanted to not include like for them never to be ranked, but it's a fighter that had already been established, had already fought. Maybe could be a guy who was maybe a rookie too, and then had their big break. They're a guy who is now known, a guy who was the talk of the year. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Who wasn't necessarily, who wasn't champ or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
I see. Okay.
A new commodity that's appreciated now. Someone who's in
that case, you're gonna have to give me a moment. But I think I've already got a few guys in mind for rookie of the year. I've already got a guy for breakout fight of the year. That's the one category I missed. That's my bad. But yeah, dude. Alice Ardeline, rookie of the year.
Josh is like, my 2024 rookie of the year is. I don't even know who.
My DTF fighter of the year is.
By the way, I hope all these fighters are happy to get their physical versions this year.
That's true, guys. We're actually going to be dropping these off at their houses.
With a firearm. I mean, with nothing in my pockets.
Yeah, okay. I got my guy. I thought all right, just want to double check he came in this year. Okay, so we're gonna break it off at the top. This is the one I want to start off with, and it's favorite fights of the year.
Oh, okay.
This is just a personal one. I think we got to get some shine to the boys out there. Maybe the ladies. I'm not sure who you have in here, but I mean, I don't got no women. But this is my favorite fights of the year. For me, there was no other. If I had to pick one, this is my fight of the year, and then I'll add a few.
This was your standout.
This is my standout fight of the year for 2024. UC 302's main event. Islam Makhachev, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. This was movie type shit. This is the type of stuff that like you can't get from any other sport. You can watch throughout the history of every other sport, you're not going to find something like this. A old dog, a fan favorite, 35 years old, says before the fight, this is my last fight. At the very least,
holy shit, was this Rocky?
This is, yes, Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier. That's real life Rocky, dude. You're going to get a guy 35 years old, never been champ. He knows. And he said this is
well, the sad thing is we've already had real life Rocky in MMA.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which one?
Matt Serra.
Shit, it's a good point.
And he is from Philly.
Yeah, fuck, you got me. Okay. Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier is still movie type shit. All right? Maybe not Rocky, but we're there.
Just like more like Creed, but it's still in the Rocky verse.
Hey, Islam Makhachev stepping up, trying to make another defensive title, but it doesn't really matter as much as Islam. It's kind of like Dustin's story, And that's kind of what the whole thing going into the fight was.
Oh my God, that was the storyline, was it?
It was Dustin's story. I mean, this is a guy 35 years old, a long-time vet of the game. He's been fighting since he's been 20 years old, okay? This is a guy that I've grown up.
Long before that, too.
Watching Dustin Poirier. and so has everybody else. You know,
He fought in Strikeforce Challengers, didn't he?
Man,
I think he did.
he might have.
Someone who I recently found out who did was Michael Chandler.
I didn't even know that one.
Fun fact of the day.
I didn't even know that one. That's crazy.
Yeah, just to get your dick a little hard there.
Dude, I got a phoner right now,
You got
man.
a phoner?
I know he fought in the WEC. I think that's what you're thinking of.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, he fought WEC. Okay. I knew that. But the point being, I grew up watching Dustin Poirier, and I never got to see him win the big one. And he knew at 35 years old going into this fight, okay, this is my last shot at the big one. And he put it all into it, man. And people forget, man, round 1, he gets taken down, back taken, 3:30 left on the clock. It looks like, oh, shit, this is going to be the sad result that we all thought it was going to be. And you know what happens? He survives the end of the round. And then round 2, similar case. Then James getting taken down. But in round 3, it looks like his nose gets broken. The blood starts pouring. And he's like, you know what? Fucking, I'm going to let it all out on the table. And he went out there and gave fans every ounce that he could to try and win that fight. And Dustin Poirier reminded people why he is that fan favorite, why he's a future Hall of Famer. But Islam Makhachev in round 5 reminded people why he's a fucking champion. And he gets that takedown and he gets the submission win. And that's my fight of the year, man. So I got to pass it back to you.
I mean, I can't even hate on you. I mean, the story you just laid out. I mean, it kind of puts mine down because of all the lead up. But I got to say this. This was just, I got to give my fight of the year to these two guys. These guys are two guys that are probably going to be forgotten by history. Two guys that won't be remembered when we're like 60 years old.
Okay.
But you know something? Maybe I'll remember them when I'm going through Fight Pass one day and I'm like, dude, I remember this one. And for me, it was Mateus Rebecki, Orabai. Those guys are not going to get any love down the line, but they did get a fight of the night bonus that night. They went to fucking war. They look like absolute shit. They're the kind of guy, when you think of cage fighting and how the results of that may be, that's how those two guys, that's how you would imagine two guys would look after a cage fight. It was violence. It was perfect. They both went for it. My only gripe for it, like my only slight gripe with it is that at the very end, they both didn't just go for it. But honestly, with the level of exhaustion they had that you see in them, I mean, at one point, they can barely throw. They're just throwing for the sheer will to throw.
Yeah.
They're not even throwing with energy and intention anymore, but they're just throwing because they know they need to continue fighting for those last few seconds. And for me, that was just my fight of the year. I mean, it's just two guys just going for it. You know, it's not perfect. It's not technically sound, but it was just violence at its best. It was bloody. It was messy. And like I said, they're probably not going to get much love. They probably both made 50 G's that night on their regular pay, not including the bonus they got. But yeah, for me, those guys were probably my fight of the year. They were the most memorable. And I probably won't forget about them for a while.
That was one of my runners up. That fight, obviously.
I will say I had Islam and Dustin in there. I'll give my other two people that I had in here, my other two fights.
All right,
I had Zil Huber Ribovic, which could have easily been number one. The ending to that the ending to that fight was insane. It was a banger. By the way, both of those fights were split decisions.
Ooh,
if I remember right.
Okay.
I had Lazy Boy versus Ode Osborne.
Ooh, that's a great pick.
That's a very forgotten fight on how good it was. Round 1 insane with Lazy Boy getting dropped. Second round kind of coming back. I mean, that was a fun one. And then he ended up closing out the show in that one. And then, like I said, I also had Islam and Dustin in there. I mean, I don't need to lay that one out any better than what you could have.
Yeah, man, those are a couple great picks. Here are if I had to do like a top 5, I only have 3 here, but if I had to do like a top 5, I think I only had like 4. Ribovic, Del Hoover's in there. But that being said, I got to give up to the boys. I got to give it to the lads, excuse me. PFL Europe 3, Dean Garnett, Lewis McGrillen, 14 knockdowns in 14 minutes, my friend.
Sheer violence.
Sure. This is like a fight from 2005. You guys ever watch like old UFC Fight Pass fights on like prelims where dudes are just fucking brawling, no technique.
Just sock 'em, rock 'em.
Yeah, just fuck it. Who cares about CTE, am I right? So
punch me in the face. That's my defense.
That's what Dean Garnett and Lewis McGrillen said earlier this year. 14 knockdowns. Best fight in the PFL history, I feel like, at the very least. One of my favorite fights of the year. This is I already had 3, so this is my other fight. And this is a fight I was not actually even that excited for. Alex Poatan Bahia, Khalil Roundtree. I love like the movie type fights, you know?
I mean, that one was an insane fight.
Fight. Roundtree stepping up as the 8th ranked guy, I think, at that point in time.
I'll tell you what, my fight of the year wouldn't have a close fight with a number 8 ranked opponent, just saying.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, I think we'll talk about fight of the year in a minute. We'll talk fight of the year.
I know, I just had to lay that out.
Bahia, Roundtree, both guys back and forth. Roundtree, seeing the heart, man, especially in round 4. I rewatched that fight. I rewatched a lot of these fights yesterday while I was at the gym, and that was one of them. And Pahea in round 4, whenever Roundtree's just getting jabbed to death, he busted up, man. At this point, he said later that he couldn't see out of one of his eyes. Really hurt bad, but still against the fence, he's still trying to show up and throw big ring. He's landing those shots with Pahea just taking them, ends up getting the knockout win.
At elevation,
incredible
too,
fight,
if I remember right.
Yeah, correct. Salt Lake City, incredible fight. If I had to do one more, I got to throw it in there. Max Holloway, just engaging, man. UFC 300. The fight itself was a little bit lopsided.
I was about to say, in hindsight, I rewatched that one. Not as crazy as I remember.
No, not nearly as crazy.
It's also intense.
It's the, I call this the Lawler McDonald 2 effect of, this is some insane shit that you're seeing in real time, and because you're seeing it in real time, that's what makes it so good. But if you watch back Lawler McDonald, nothing happened. They're point fighting for the first 3 rounds. Not only it's a big shot still,
and the cuts and all that happened.
In the cuts and all that. In this case, it's Max Holloway's tuning him up, and he's landing some big shots, and he's hurting Justin a few times around. But guess what? Justin Gaethje has to have power of God in his fist. In round 4, you saw it. He knocked him down, put him on his ass, and there were some other big moments in that fight. But
Rolling Thunder he threw out.
Exactly. But it's a pinnacle fight that you have to be there to watch in real time. Obviously, if you watch almost any of these fights, they're not nearly as good as you would see them in the moment. But that's just... This is one. We got to move on though, because we have other subjects to talk about, including upset of the year. This is not a huge year for upsets. I'll say that. Betting wise, there were a few big ones, but to me, there's one clear one that stands out. Not even UFC one, but I'll pass it off to you. What is your upset of the year for?
I mean, it's the one that we just had a week ago. Jaime Munguia losing to that French guy.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Let's show some respect to this man's name. Pull it up.
I'm sadly forgot. I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought the guy was a Brazilian, and then I looked him up. Another one was that a Brazilian gal who beat Wang Kong. That was a big deal.
Yeah,
betting what?
Yeah. If I had a backup pick, that would be my pick. Yeah, Bruno. Oh man, Bruno Sarasi.
I think that's correct.
Sarasi. Anyways,
out of France.
26-0-2.
Can you see why I thought he was Brazilian?
Yeah, I get it. That's a great pick. Jaime Munguia ended that fight as a minus 2,500.
On top of that, it's not just an upset just because of the betting odds. He was winning the fight.
Yes.
He was winning the fight before he wasn't.
Exactly.
To top it off.
Well, Angel, this is no offense to any of those. Like I said, Wayne Conger, Gabriel Fernandez nearly won for me. But, dude, come on, man. You got to show some love to the big boys. Rug defeats Anatoly Malakin.
That's a good one.
169. I'm pulling the exact
Umar Kane.
Umar Kane
aka
Rug. Malakin minus 700 heading into this fight. Incredible stuff, man.
Is that a bigger upset than Gabby Garcia getting robbed from the Craig Jones Invitational?
That made Gabby Garcia is my DTF fighter of the year. No fucking.
Well, the biggest upset, something that made me upset, was seeing fucking Volkov lose all the fucking scorecards to Cyril fucking Gone.
That's our. That's
my moment of the year. That's my fucking moment of the year, you motherfuckers. You finally broke me.
They finally broke Angel. They broke Angel. The judges. Adelaide Bird has broken Angel.
Adelaide Bird, I'm coming for your ass.
I'm coming for you. Anyway, so we
insert Joaquin Buckley clip.
Anyway, so yeah, my upset of the year, Rug, man. Love to see it. I love to see it. Since you brought it up, do you just want to go to moment of the year?
I mean, yeah.
Moment of the year. All right.
I think we're in consensus with this one. Can we?
Moment of the year is moment of the decade. Can we say that? And that may be a little bit too harsh.
Should we say it at the same time?
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Max Holloway, KO, Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, UFC 300. Yeah, knockout of the decade. You're not going to get it better than
literally that. Jumped out. He was there. We were together. We literally jumped out of our seats live and freaked out. I mean, we thought Max Holloway was the greatest fighter on the planet at that moment. He was untouchable. He was God. He was about to knock out ELYXR for months and come down and get the 145 belt and then come back and fight at 155 and potentially beat Islam. Like, that was the dead set thought in that moment.
It looked like this guy... God damn, I love Max Holloway.
You got to think about it. That's Justin Gaethje coming off the head kick victory of Dustin Poirier.
Exactly. This is Justin Gaethje. I mean, you could argue whether or not he's in his prime or not, but that's a completely different discussion. This is a guy that is looking incredible.
Well, dude, he just beat former title challenger Dustin Poirier not even that long
ago.
So can we really say?
And he was the BMF champion, man. I mean, he got that little bullshit belt, you know.
And then Max got that belt.
Exactly, man. Just incredible stuff from Bless.
Can you think of another big? I mean, I told you guys about Volkov What's another moment of the year that stands out to you?
For me,
Any other big moments you can think of? Maybe they didn't get to moment of the year.
man.
I mean, this one was just had you on your feet, right? It was just like that. You know, it's kind of a when you go back to this year and you think about moment of the year. I mean, that's kind of the one that sticks out.
Oh man, I feel like I could probably think of like some personal ones that I but I'd have to think more about
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
honestly.
The fact that you have that this one is clear out into your mind is more than enough to reinforce the fact that it is moment of the year.
Yeah, shit. When did Cody No Love knock out fucking my boy? When did he?
You're talking about Brian Kelleher?
Yeah, when did he knock him out? Was that January? That's January? I'll count that.
I mean, it counts. We count the whole year.
I'm just doing a bit, but I mean, yeah, man, I'd have to think more about it. But in regards to MMA, I there's nothing else that really comes close. I think Ilya knocking out Max was huge.
That's another thing. You know, funny enough, the opposite end of the coin. To be honest, that could be another moment of the year because it never happened. The importance of that victory for Ilya, the change in guard, the kind of establishing of like, oh, this is a new 145 era.
Yeah, that was huge.
I mean, that's up there. I mean, respect. I mean, I gotta give.
This is a personal one. Robert Whittaker stepping up and beating the shit out of Ikram Masvidal. I remember that heading into that fight. Like Ikram was actually the favorite. People forget that, man.
I mean, I thought Ikram was gonna win just on pure hype. If I'm,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I was on a hype train.
Well, Ikram's fucking good, but he just deaded him, and it's like, goddamn, Robert Whittaker's still that guy, you know. So, and I love the Reaper. So that's a personal one, but I mean, it's all just pointless, man. Because there's
dude,
the only
I got a moment for you. I just
go ahead.
About Dustin walking out to that edit of the song.
Shine bright like a diamond.
It was Diamond plus oh my god, why am I forgetting?
The Boss by James Brown.
The Boss by James Brown.
Yeah.
Dude, that moment was just
hey man, we love James Brown.
The aura in that moment was insane, dude. Like the music changes, the lights turn off, and then bam. It just and he did it, man.
I mean, and it was just
it seemed too good to be true. Like people wanted Dustin to win.
Yeah.
You know, people were I felt like a lot of fans had like going into that fight. I think like why that moment was so powerful is because they felt represented through Dustin.
Yeah, I mean he is Dustin Poirier is I want to say like a working class guy, but like a lot of people could see themselves in him. He's not a guy that came from a lot. He's a guy from like a small town in Louisiana, you know, down south and
dropout, you know, high school dropout.
Yeah, but like he's overcome all that to be a outstanding member of society and also a star.
Right.
With his own businesses, his own charity. I mean, a great family. I mean, he is what, hate to say it, it sounds a little bit, I don't want to say it's like a cliche, but
he's like living the dream.
He's the American dream.
He's the American dream.
He's the American dream.
Self-made.
Dusty Rhodes. No, he's fucking the American dream. Dustin Poirier. You know? So.
My kingdom. No,
yeah. Moment of the year. WrestleMania. Down in Philly, Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns, winning the gold.
Was the CM Punk shit last year?
When he came back? Yes, last November. Yeah, November. That's
okay,
a great pick, though.
It's been like over a year, but yeah.
Wrestling moment of the year is that, obviously. I mean, sometimes I think about it, I should just like start a wrestling podcast or just some shit. I feel because I got passionate about the game.
I'm telling you. Dude.
And then I remember like I don't give a shit about it outside of WrestleMania season these days. Right. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Anyways, we did moment of the year. Fight of the year, upset of the year.
Well, I mean, shit, that crowd in France that I just showed you for Cody, I mean, that was up there.
God, dude, yeah. I mean, crowds in the U.S. just aren't. You know what the biggest thing is? I've come to this conclusion. I've thought a lot about this. I think the reason why crowds in the U.S. suck, and they don't suck everywhere else, is because you have to pay an arm and a leg to get in anywhere now if your team's good. If your team's ass, you can go out and buy.
Well,
tickets.
dude, the only reason we haven't gone to a
Chiefs game growing up.
I say, dude, think about it. The Chiefs are good now. We haven't been to a game.
Exactly, but you know what? Whenever we were sucking and eating ass with Matt Castle, I went to like 4 games.
Hey, don't hassle the Castle.
Don't hassle the Castle. You know, it's my bad. Hey, man, he did make the Pro Bowl that one time. I mean, you know, fucking.
All right, next award.
Event of the year.
Ooh, okay.
This is always a fun one for me because event of the year could be MMA, boxing. It could be any reason you like that card.
Okay, well, I threw out UFC 300 up there. I threw out UFC Noche. This is a weird. I threw in, by the way, non-MMA CGI. Josh, how could I forget the Craig Jones Invitational? Out of all the things that we could have had, the Craig Jones Invitational.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Obviously, Craig Jones, Gabby Garcia, the fight of the century. We had a few other guys on there. Luke Rockhold, you know. Wasn't Nicky Rod on there? He was the one who won their tournament.
Nicky Rod, yeah, the Rotolo brothers.
Did you see CGI too? They're trying to do like some WWE ass shit.
By the way, speaking about the Rotolo brothers, I didn't even think about that. Moment of the year, dude. Was it Cade getting that knockout in one? That shit was insane.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
It was insane. I just thought about that. I didn't even think about that.
So your event of the year, CGI. That's interesting.
CGI. It was just unique. It was so unique. I think it should have been. Like I said, you could have been 300. It could have been UFC Noche. But CGI was probably the most unique event of the whole year.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's a tie, man. And I hate to do ties, but I'm doing ties. UFC 300 / Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk 1.
I mean, I don't blame you. Those are all great choices.
Yeah, UFC 300 goes without explaining. I mean, it's a for somebody who was there for UFC 2. I wasn't there for UFC 100. I came in a little bit afterwards, but I was there for UFC 200.
Hey, I'm gonna throw a weird one out there that might annoy you.
Oh, go ahead.
Paul Tyson. It was a big event.
I don't hate that.
It was a historical moment.
It was the first. Yeah, go ahead.
It's event of the year. It's not fight of the year. Those are two very different things. I think from a going forward standard and kind of how the fight game could potentially change and streaming and all this and Netflix, like Paul Tyson as a big event was pretty interesting. Like, it was pretty cool for what it was. Like the fact that this guy was able to attract so many people, whether you like him or not, or even whether we like him or not. Like shit, it happened. We were there. We watched.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So clearly he has some sort of.
Yeah, and I get that. I actually, funnily enough, I thought about doing the same thing, not because I really liked the fight, but the undercard was incredible. I mean, Barrios, Ramos, Taylor Serrano, two of the greatest boxing matches of the year. To happen on the same card was huge, and then obviously getting like how many people were packed into AT&T Stadium? I don't know if I saw the exact. I mean, they broke attendance records. I don't remember the exact amount.
Shit, dude. The Olympics were this year too, dude. We didn't even bring that up.
That's true.
The Olympics should have been up there.
Yeah. Point being though, UC 300 goes without explaining. I was there for 200. That fight card did not live up to the hype. UC 300 more than lived up to the hype.
Yeah, definitely. Card, in the end, yeah.
And I think a big part of his expectation too. UC 200 was the card that like everybody's like, oh shit, dude. Like we got like 3 title fights. You know, some of the biggest names in the game, and ended up not being as good. UC 300 was like, fuck, dude. 3 weeks out, we don't have a main event. Alex Bahia, Jamal Hill, welcome.
And they made it, and that card was full of a bunch of crazy shit, like a lot of crazy moments.
Exactly. And then Fury Usyk, pretty self-explanatory. First undisputed heavyweight champion in 25 years since Lennox Lewis, and the fight lived up to the hype too. The first fight was better than the second fight. I still like the second fight, but you know, I like the first fight more dramatic. Both guys got hurt. You know, it was just an
I agree.
fight.
I can agree with that.
So that's it for the event of the year. That being said, we still have a few other things. We're going to hit off with Breakout Fighter of the Year.
Oh, I mean,
this one is, there's not too many other guys I can think of outside of this one. This one was
okay.
A layup for me
so
personally.
It depends how we want to talk about this. And the reason I'm going to say this is because I got two guys. And another guy on this, and one of the guys I might mention might be winning another award later in this conversation. For me, it has to be either Peyton Tabbitt or Carlos Prates.
Okay.
It's kind of untouched. Prates debuted this year, fought 4 times. That fucker almost fought a 5th time for a potential #1 title position. The only reason the UC said no is because this fucker had a foot injury, I believe.
Yeah.
And Peyton Tabbitt, Peyton Tabbitt kind of took over the MMA internet space there for a bit. Like, he was all the conversation, you know?
Yeah.
Constantly being talked about. He's done a really good job promoting himself, being the YouTube, doing stuff with Full Violence, I think is the clothing brand.
Yeah, correct.
Done some stuff there. And overall, he's just an entertaining and a very unique guy. Can you think of another guy in MMA who has been this unique as a personality, including fight-wise? I kind of want to compare him to, like, I'm talking very, very modern day Diego Sanchez.
That's a great comparison.
But very, very modern day. Like,
but also very different, too.
Yeah, very different.
So, I like that. For me, Carlos Prates. There wasn't... I like Peyton Talbot.
It had to be one of the two, bro. It had to be one of the two.
He's had a phenomenal year. But Carlos Prates went from being...
a complete unknown to a known.
Yeah, he was fighting in the LFA last year to being near the end of UFC #1 contender fight. Like,
by December.
Yeah, and like the way he's done it too.
And he became a ranked fighter by the end of the year.
He handed Li Jingliang his first knockout loss. He handed Neil Magny out his first knockout loss, but nobody's done Neil Magny like that, you know? So...
Granted, though, dude, I'm not going to lie. After each Neil Magny loss, I feel like I've said that line so much recently because it just progressively got worse.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Now it's not, but like, I guess you're right. He did get knocked out by Michael Morales, but prior to that, he hadn't been finished since Santiago Ponzinibbio in 2017. So
still, though,
but he's back-to-back knockout losses. I see what you're saying. That being said, that was an easy one. Rookie of the year.
I said a guy could win an award twice on here. This one's pretty untouched.
Go ahead.
For a little bit there, I thought it was gonna be Gene Silva. Was kind of my main guy. I think he had like three three fights this year,
Yeah,
so on short
correct.
notice. But it's Carlos Prates. I mean, it's an untouched. I mean, it was almost a undisputed greatest rookie year of all time. If he would have fought Rakhmonov and somehow won and became the title challenger within a single year, I mean, I don't think we've ever would have gotten a more impressive performance in the UFC's history anyhow, without being like a former champ or some sort of like recognition from a previous organization like Osaka or something like that. Like this guy really did something in 1 year that no one's ever done before. And look, sadly, it didn't end up like the Shockbot fight didn't end up happening, probably for the better, you know.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, look at the story that could have happened. Look at the story he did make.
So for me, I wanted to go a little bit differently. I don't want to give the same award. I don't want to give out the same guy 2 awards. But I'm going to be giving the award to somebody from the gym. The Fighting Nerds. Mauricio Ruffy, come on down.
I mean, it was a good. It was a good year. It wasn't the craziest year.
No, it wasn't. But I already went Carlos Prates for breakout fighter of the year. I feel like Mauricio Ruffy, if we're talking rookie, he's not ranked yet. I think he will get there, but I kind of wanted to give him some shine as well. 2 phenomenal performances. A knockout winner.
Like I said, you could have given it to all 3 of those guys from the Fighting Nerds, dude. Gene Silva, Carlos Prates, Mauricio Ruffy.
Shows the year they had, you know.
I mean, they had out of all the. I mean, they were Gym of the Year for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, he put on an incredible knockout win, flying knee over Gene Malarkey, and then an incredible war with James Lientop. Is that how you pronounce his name? UFC 309 last month in New York City. Incredible fight. He is my rookie of the year. This is the one that obviously I kind of went back and forth on, but happy to see the Fighting Nerds pulling down 2 awards, man. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. But anyways, we'll move on.
So
because
that happened.
I have no idea. Boxer of the year. This one seems relatively obvious to me, but we'll go ahead with it. Boxer of the year. It's gonna be man or woman. Normally we segregate. Sounds terrible to say.
Dude,
we
Josh,
segregate MMA. Not
Clarissa
boxing.
Shields became heavyweight champion this year.
Yeah, I know she beat a single mom of 3 with a 5-0 record or some shit. Like that's her next fight. You know, like I love a lot of women's boxing. I love the women, but I don't love a lot of. It's very top heavy. You know, so
let's hear it, Josh. What do you got to say?
So boxer of the year, it's Oleksandr Usyk. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's kind of untouched, right?
Dude, undisputed heavyweight champion, first guy in 25 years. Like that's history. And maybe in a way could have brought it back if he fought, but his fight got canceled.
He got cucked.
And,
well, my fighter of the year, Josh, is Mike, not Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. He beat Mike Tyson, dude. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, dude. Everybody knows that. Like that's according to our YouTube comment section. It's still 1988. So really, that's the best win of the fucking year. So
no, I mean it has to be Usyk. He made the biggest history out of any boxer.
Yeah,
it's kind of untouched.
Yeah,
I mean Inoue had a very good year. If he had one more fight, I mean you could have argued him.
2 knockout wins. You know that Luis Neri fight was a banger too. He got dropped for the first time ever. So, yeah, man. For me, it's not a hard pick. If you wanted to do women's boxing, it'd become way more interesting.
Dude, could you imagine if Ryan didn't get banned from fucking
If
Royce?
Ryan, you know what? That'd be interesting. If Ryan doesn't get banned, he probably fights another huge name next.
And then if he would have won that, it would have been like, shit,
Just
young guy, you know, he would have been a good runner. But granted, like we said, Usyk did something historical, something massive. Like it's kind of hard not to give it to the guy who will be talked generationally and is an all-time great.
Exactly. I mean, he fucking went out there and became the first guy in 25 years. And not only that, but like, dude, he might be the GOAT at heavyweight. He put himself in that position, you know?
He's in those conversations now for sure.
At the very least, you know, like
maybe he's not the one, but he gets to be mentioned.
If you put him against every other guy in history, it's close.
He has a decent chance, yeah.
Exactly. So that's my thoughts on it. Boxer of the year, Oleksandr Usyk. Female fighter of the year, Clarissa Shields, obviously. I mean, come on.
I mean, this one's rough.
Yeah, so we're going to go in female fighter of the year. This is for MMA. There's a couple of options, but for me, like you said, very bare. I mean, like we can, before we break into this, just run this down, the options we have.
I mean, we'll explain though. If think to the MMA fan base out there that's listening, like who is a clear choice? Is there a clear choice?
We can run down the divisions. Like I said, before you and I even started filming this, it's like, okay, strawweight. Sean Woodley fought once. None of the many of the top contenders didn't even fight, like Suarez either. So there we go. Women's flyweight. Grasso fought once. Shevchenko fought once. Shevchenko won the belt, obviously. You go down to women's bantamweight. Juliana Pena with a controversial win over, Rocky or whatever. So Rocky Pennington. So
yeah, no, it's pretty rough. Didn't Norma have a pretty good year? Now that I remember,
Norma Dumont had an okay year.
Did she fight 3 times or just twice?
But this is the issue. Is now you're at the contenders, right?
That's what I'm getting at.
And it's just not a deep division. She fought twice, won twice. Aldana and Durandamy. Good wins.
I mean, I feel like there had to have been some girl who competed multiple times this year, but I just can't even think of it, dude. It's that depressing.
Yeah, it's a bad time for women's MMA.
I think like a year ago, dude, someone that we had mentioned was like Loopy. Like she wasn't a contender, but she fought like 3 or 4 times in a year, or won all those times, or she won like 3-1 on the year.
Yeah. Now, like, fuck, dude. I mean, taking a look at these rankings, man. I think last year I want to say I gave it to Erin Blanchfield or something because she went like 3-0.
Something like that. It might have been.
Yeah, but like this year. She
Josh, let's get into it. Who did you say? Who did you write down as your female fighter?
Well, see, here's the thing. I went back and forth on this a little bit, but I came to the conclusion Dakota Dicheva.
That's what Luke said the same thing. I gotta respect. It's a deep cut. People might not respect it or enjoy it, but
yeah,
I get it.
For me, it's
mine is much more boring. Just so you know.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, well, I'll explain Dakota. I feel like it's pretty easy to explain Dakota, but I'll do it anyway. This girl, I want to say she's 26, 27. She's a very young girl out of the UK. 25, younger than I thought. Okay, out of the UK, and now 14-0, 4 wins in the year. And here's the thing: she had never fought in the PFL series before this. She fought in PFL Europe, and fought in UAE Warriors, a couple of other those smaller promotions. She gets in, knockout win in her debut, knockout win for Chelsea Hackett, knockout win for Jenna Bishop, none of which are huge names. But then she faces Talia Santos, who has faced the who's who. Shevchenko, Blanchfield, several top contenders, nearly 1 scorecard away from being UFC champion. And she couldn't go 2 fucking rounds with Dakota Dicheva. Dakota Dicheva is your 2024 female fighter of the year.
You know something? I'm gonna change my answer now. I'm gonna go with you.
You're gonna go Dakota Dicheva?
I thought about it, but I thought about it, but I didn't go with it. I was gonna go with a much boring answer, but now I'm gonna go with that because you're not wrong. That is a pretty. I forgot they were all finishes.
Yeah, 4 fights, 4 finishes,
and a finish over Talia Santos.
Yeah, exactly. She's the real deal, Holyfield.
She's the fighter of the year.
I want to see her in the UFC, but
okay. Well, I'll say my runner-up was Chev. I told you it was boring. But what were the choices?
I mean, I'll say this. My runner-up was Kayla Harrison. So.
The only reason I said Chev is because she regained her title, and she didn't just regain it. She took it back dominantly.
That's fair.
After her, the kind of loss she had. And a fight she could have arguably won.
Totally fair. No issue with it.
And then she was one of the biggest fights of the year.
Yeah.
She was in one of the biggest fights of the year. One of the most important fights of the year. Is it going to be Grasso maintaining this new lineage, or is it going to be the old guard and Grasso?
Yeah.
Or in Chev? And Chev got it right back.
Yeah, look, man, no issue with it. I totally get it. For me, my runner-up was Kayla Harrison, debuting in the UFC against Holly Holm, who obviously Holly Holm's not. She's 43 now, man. Like she's past her best days, but she's never gotten run through like that, man. That fight wasn't close for a second. And then she faced Caitlin Vieira, won all 3 rounds pretty cleanly, and now she set herself up for a title shot.
Dude,
so.
By the way, could you give Cyborg?
You could give Cyborg Fighter of the Year. Yeah, I mean she's the
female fighter of the year.
First person to beat Pacheco since. When did Harrison do it? November of 2022. She won fuck, dude. Pacheco. Let me see how many fights. She might have been my fighter of the year women's last year. I can't remember.
I think we picked her for the year.
Excuse me. She beat Harrison in 2022. I fucked that up. She had not lost in 5 years. Pacheco.
Wow.
She had won 9 fights in a row, 8 of which by knockout. And then Cyborg went in there and was like, "Hey, yo, what's up, bitch?"
Dude, you gotta give credit, dude. You gotta give credit where credit's due. Like, she did not just achieve that easily. Like,
I'll say this, dude. Cyborg versus Pacheco was on my short list for fight of the year. It's a top 10 for me.
Dude, you know something? I forgot how good that fight actually ended up being.
Both got cut. Both got takedowns. Like, it was a very back and forth fight.
It wasn't an easy victory, no.
No, it was. It ended up being scored.
Dude, moment of the year, we forgot, dude. Ngannou beating
Fahea. That was in my short list. I thought about that
after the Kobe loss.
Yeah, but just terrible for our boy Francis. I really wanted to put him in here, but I couldn't. I just can't put that over Max. And then as far as other fights,
it was a memorable moment. I mean, I think it had to be mentioned.
I agree with you there. It
was a big part of MMA this year, whether we choose to believe it or not.
So I'm happy we're giving him a little mention. But
what other awards do we got, Josh?
We have 2 other awards, my friend. We're gonna hit it off. But you know what? Yeah. I'm kind of debating the order, but let's go DTF Fighter of the Year. Or there are down to fight Fighter of the Year. This could be anybody we want, but the criteria being they're come to bang. They're going to fight. They're going to be active. They're going to put on some fucking.
They're taking fights on short notice?
They are, no matter what. They may not be a top ranked guy. They may not even be ranked at all, but they're down to fucking fight.
Dude, can I name some of my honorable mentions before I get to my
Please name your honorable
mentions. This guy should have maybe won it just on the essence of how quick he had to take a fight. Danny Ige.
Dan Ige, great pick.
Dan Ige literally took a fight on hours' notice.
Yep.
By the way, who was the guy at 1, the Brazilian, who took a fight? He was in the crowd. He was supposed to fight Sage Northcutt.
John Lineker stepping up on a few hours' notice to face.
Arguably minutes.
Yeah, and he fought, Shinya Aoki, right?
He fought Shinya Aoki and lost.
In an open weight bout.
I'm going to say Cade Rotolo was offered that fight. He didn't take it. He had never fought in MMA. But if Cade Rotolo would have taken that fight, it wouldn't have even been close.
Yeah.
MMA debut against Shinya Aoki on hours' notice, minutes' notice, I would have been down for it. Alex Perez, he was up there. He took it's
2.
They were pretty short notice. Gene Silva was another one. He had a pretty short notice. But Josh, my DTF fighter of the year is a champion. A champion who put it on the line each time. A champion who risked his title. And it's no other than Alex Poatan Pereira. I mean, this guy, every single one of his fights this year was on short notice, some sort of injury, and he defended his title every single time. He was not just... I mean, he could have been your fighter of the year, but for me, he was DTF fighter of the year. He was down to fight, and that's what DTF fighter of the year means. It's a guy who's willing to come in here on short notice, on hours notice, minutes notice. Shit, maybe just get pulled out of the crowd and fight, God damn it. I mean, it's pretty untouched. I mean, he did something that no other guy did on short notice.
I like that, man. I like that. For me, that's a great pick. However, there's a man that you did not name, which admittedly, I'm kind of disappointed, but I understand why you didn't. I got to go with, out of St. Louis, flyweight zone, Charles Johnson.
I forgot he had quite a few fights this year.
He went 4-0 in 2024.
Just like Buckley.
Correct. 4-0 in 2024. Stepping up on short notice for, I believe, 2 of these fights. Jake Hadley and Joshua Van. He defeats Azmat Maksum in February. Undefeated 15-0. Hands him his first career loss. Jake Hadley at one point looked like he could be a rising prospect. Beat him by decision. Joshua Van, the biggest win of this run, stepping up on a week's notice to face 10-1 Joshua Van, who nearly made my breakout fight of the year, but with a loss, like, you can't have it. Mm-hmm. That loss coming a knockout win by Charles Johnson, and then to close out the year, an October war with Stu Matajiri, where he wins by unanimous decision. Charles Johnson, 4 fights in the span of 10 months. Actually, excuse me.
He could have been breakout fighter of the year.
4 fights in 8 months. That's what it was. February to October.
I didn't even think about him for breakout fighter of the year. That would have been a good choice. That would have been a good call right there.
Yeah. So
that would have been a homer pick right there.
Yeah. Great. So I love me some Charles Johnson, man. Love me some Charles Johnson. Excited to see him back and maybe working his way to a title shot. Ranked number 12. Let's keep it going, baby. Let's fucking go, dude. Very entertaining guy. Can't wait to see him back. And yeah, excited to see what's next for him. But there's only one category left, my friend. We have male fighter of the year.
You know, for some people, Josh, this might be a difficult choice. But for me, this one is clear as water.
Fair enough. Go. I know who you're
as glacier water, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's that clear. My fighter of the year is no other than Rook. No. I'd suck this out there. But, I can't give it to any other guy. It's ELYXR. I'm sorry to all the Poatan fans out there. I know you're going to get upset. I can't wait to read your hate comments, just so you know. But all I'm going to say is ELYXR did fight number 8 in his division, and that was Josh Emmett, and you guys saw the results of that fight.
That's a good point.
So, granted, it wasn't short notice, but granted, if it was short notice, I don't think it'd make a difference. I mean, dude, when has there ever been a time when a young guy who's won the title has got to fight the 2 most important and relevant fighters of that time? I mean, shit, Usyk kind of did that.
Yeah. I mean, it's very rare.
Joshua and Fury.
Yeah.
You know? This guy literally fought former pound for pound Alexander Volkanovski, who had beat probably arguably one of the greatest, if not the second greatest featherweight of all time, and Max Holloway several times. Yeah. And he took out that guy. And then to top it off, Max has his major knockout. He's a star. He's everything. He's coming back to featherweight. He might do it again. Gets a win over that guy. The pride of Hawaii. One of the most loved fighters in the UFC. One of the greatest featherweights of all time. One of the few guys to finish Jose Aldo. Like, it was that fucking guy he beat. You know, he beat, you could even argue number 1, number 2, or wherever you have him on your featherweight all great list, featherweights of all time.
Yeah.
When the fuck is that ever going to happen again? Credit to Poatan on what he did, fighting on short notices and defending his title. But the quality of those 2 wins significantly outweighs the quality of Poatan's 2 wins. Yes, quantity can be good, but at the same time, quality is a big factor too.
My male fight of the year is Alex Poetan.
Oh my God, you switched it up.
Switching it up.
You
on you.
fucking bastard. You fucking
So
bastard.
let me say this. I'm actually not gonna fuck around. I'm kind of gonna fuck around, but I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate. So I think if you're going on the strength of the wins, it's Ilia Topuria. There's no question.
Yeah.
Beating 2 generational talents like Alex Bahia. Who did he beat? He beat
Yuri and Jamal.
Yuri, Jamal,
Roundtree.
and Khalil Roundtree. Great wins, but
Yeah.
light heavyweight is the weakest division in the UFC. The reason why I would put him over Ilia Topuria, let me give you the devil's advocate. The short notice nature of it all, being there when the UFC needed him, and this is as much as I hate this fact, this is an entertainment sport. And Alex Poetan Bahia is the biggest star, and he became a star by stepping up on short notice 3 straight times and fighting 3 straight top contenders and knocking them all out cold. So for me, if you want to give it to Ilia Topuria or Alex Bahia, it's totally fine both ways. It kind of reminds me of the 2019 argument whenever Israel Adesanya, undefeated, won the title from Robert Whittaker, and he had, I think, 2 wins in the year, but Jorge Masvidal, the bigger star, had scored 3 knockout wins that year, won the BMF title. Kind of reminds me of that. Both, obviously, Bahia.
He kind of did get robbed that year, though.
Yeah. Well, Alex Bahia and Ilia Topuria are both actual champions, which makes it a little bit different. But
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, I mean, if you're going off the strength of the win, it's Ilia. But yeah, I can see how you give it to Alex, too. That's my thoughts.
I mean, people are going to probably argue this till the end of time. You know, he defended his belt 3 times. Well, he beat 2 of the greatest featherweights of all time.
That's the thing. It's like, there's not a bad pick here, in my opinion. Like, the short notice nature of it, the fact that he did have 1 additional win.
I think that's
and
the big
injuries,
thing.
too. Injuries against, he was injured when he fought, I believe, Jamal and Khalil.
I mean,
So-
dude, how do you? I mean, you don't know if Ilya had injuries.
You know, I mean, he has no problem talking, and he has not mentioned it. So maybe I'm wrong,
I
but
mean, that's what a champ does, right?
Hey.
Oh,
Oh, shit. Anyway, so any other things you would talk about, man, from 2024? That's all the awards, but any thoughts on the year as a whole, man?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. As far as the UFC, it was a rough year. We made it through. I mean, we've talked about this several times. We're gonna kind of relay it back to the people out there listening right now. If Alex Poetan and Max Holloway don't exist this year, this MMA year is very sad.
Oh yeah,
It is not nearly as entertaining. It's not nearly as fun. So we were very blessed to have them around. Hopefully next year it's a lot better, and it's looking like it is because the first few pay-per-views of the year and the kind of fights they have lined up are pretty fucking beefy, dude.
yeah.
And kind of potentially the matchups that we have coming on going forward, like Max Holloway's future 155 fights, Dustin's last fight, what's next for Justin Gaethje, you know, all the state of the flyweight division, how's that going to go? You know, Kayla Harrison. There's a number of things. And who the fuck is going to come along and try to fuck this shit all up? You know, who's going to be that next young guy? Who's going to be that next young rookie? You know, who's going to be that next champ? Who's going to be that dark horse that surprises us? You know,
Exactly.
those are all the big things going into 2025 that I'm excited about, you know, especially after having such a weak MMA year. Like I've looked back and thought about stuff, you know, in the past years while we've been doing this pod, but there's never been a year like this where I've been like, fuck. Like this was the first year where I finally skipped a card.
Yeah.
You know, I skipped it and watched it the day after, which was very sad to do. It kind of broke my heart. You know, I had broken the streak over the past, you know, what is it, 5-6 years now, consistently watching it every Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Watching each pay-per-view, watching every fight night, waking up. I mean, I watched that fucking China card. I watched that shit live. I watched that whole card live. You know, that's how dedicated I am to this shit. So just to give you guys a perspective of how much I love this shit.
Yeah.
And I think we had some of the least Apex events this year, if I remember right, which was a positive.
Yeah, since 2020, yeah.
Since 2020, I saw the actual stat for it. The numbers have gone down. It doesn't feel like it, but they have. Hopefully next year they go down even more. Probably not. But they did say they're going to expand to Apex, wherever the fuck that means. I think they should just get their own arena, do their own shows out of house, wherever that could potentially be. I don't know. I hope there's some increase in quality because I looked at a random fight night and the main event, no hate, but it's like Macy Chase on versus some other gal right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it could change. But just to give you guys an idea of going into the year, like, you know, and granted, they're starting off the year so hot, they're going to probably shorten themselves in some areas.
Yeah.
And it's usually how it goes. Start of the year, very good. You know, the fights in between, especially because the year's so hot, might be some rough ones in there. Middle half of the year, maybe like 1 or 2 bangers in there, but it gets very rough. As we get to the end of the year, it picks up again. You know the trend now. If you've watched, you know how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. I mean, look, for 2024, I mean, I'm kind of just going to echo a few things you said, man. We went through with the UFC this year. You know, there were a couple of months where it was just like, nothing's happening. And I can tell you, as a guy who works like the media side of things, less and less people cared this year for the UFC as far as like every single metric that I have available to me. That's not to say that they had a terrible year overall, but when it's Alex Pereira and Max Holloway and UFC 300 as a whole, that did a hard carry.
Next year is a big year for MMA. We have the GFL, the PFL, and all their fight. I mean, shit. Last night, I don't know if you saw Josh or yesterday. Patricio Pitbull once again tweeting live at PFL. We didn't mention that.
That
saga is still ongoing. Like that whole PFL situation / Bellator situation, so which is get figured out.
Which let me just break out and say, fucking embarrassing.
I mean, it is
fucking embarrassing. You know?
By the way, have you seen that allegedly? And we didn't even mention this on the show. Crawford Canelo was apparently like heavily talked about.
I'll believe that when I see it.
I know. I'm just saying it's hey, it's in the conversation still. The fact that people are still reporting on it gives me some level of hope that the conversation's not done there.
Fair, and I want to see it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I want to say. I want to see the fight real bad.
And we got some big boxing matches throughout the year too. Boxing's have a big year,
dude. Here's the thing, like
we got Better B-Ball coming up.
If there's a time for our boy Turkey Al-Sheikh and Saudi Arabia to come in here, it's now, dude. UFC is at a point where it's like we're struggling. We're fighting.
I mean, now they're working with the UFC too. I mean, they're also in charge. We got, dude.
But I mean, as far as like boxing,
the one positive thing going into 2025 is there's a lot of good storylines that need to get figured out. Izzy, John, Aspinall, the continuation of Drake is a storyline. Like I said, Max. I mean, the flyweight division. Like I already mentioned all of this, but just to reiterate it one more time, like 2025 as a whole for the UFC could be really fucking awesome or really fucking bad. There's a lot of things you can't control, like injuries and shit like that, and obviously fight outcomes. But
yeah,
hey man, that's the beauty of this game.
Hey, don't worry, man. We're gonna have Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor in the UFC next year, dude.
And dude, did you not see the Conor versus Jake?
Yeah, that's actually that's like the only thing I have on the rundown this week. Actually, we're going to talk a little bit about the RIZIN Decade card because I just looked it up. That'll happen a few days after the pod goes live, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But the only piece of news this week came out yesterday from I can't remember the reporter. He's a Spanish guy for ESPN, speaks Spanish. He's a Mexican guy, but does a lot of great reporting. And he reported that Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor is on the table for the summer of 2025. This comes a few days after Conor was rumored to fight Logan Paul in an exhibition next summer. The same thing like that I said last week, I'll say for this. I don't give one iota of a fuck. I don't care.
I just had to show you that real quick.
That's funny. Yeah, as far as like Jake Paul, Conor McGregor, I don't care. I don't want to see Conor McGregor against Logan Paul either. But I don't know, man. Like, which one would you rather see? I guess would be my question. Do you have any interest in either?
No.
Yeah, that's.
Give me KSI versus Jake. That's all I want.
Yeah, give me KSI versus Jake, and then we could just put a fucking book on.
Oh, we can do Vidal Riley versus Jake if Jake grows some balls.
I'll do Tommy Fury. I'll do Tommy Fury.
Vidal has a big fight coming up in February. Just saying.
Oh yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't got a whole lot else to really add. I mean,
wrap it up for the year. Is this gonna be the last one for this year, Josh?
This, I believe, will be our last one for this year.
It has to be.
It will be. Yeah. So this will be the last podcast of the year.
The opening episode for 2025 will be episode 300.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I mean, look at that. I think you're right. That's absolutely the correct timeline. So we'll be seeing you guys January 10th.
Wow.
January 10th. With the 300th episode of the Courtside Soundoff podcast.
Yeah. Hey, man, 300 episodes. It's insane to think about. And admittedly, most of you guys have not been here for a lot of that. But we really just kind of did this for fun for a few years. And this year was the first year we really took it serious. So
yeah.
We've had a lot of you guys.
So if you haven't listened to any of those old episodes,
you can go back and listen, man.
And you want to touch yourself to the sound of my beautiful voice, go right ahead. If of age.
The only thing we have left to talk about. Anyways, RIZIN The Decade is RIZIN 49. The Decade is the name of this card. First, I believe it's to celebrate 10 years of RIZIN. Obviously, I don't think they had their first event until 2015, but I think they were announced in 2014.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were like that young of an organization.
Yeah, lasted longer than Pride. Anyways, this card is a really solid one, man. It's not like the deepest RIZIN card, but their end of the year cards, they've only had, let me double check. I want to say 6 events this year. This is their 8th event this year, which is not many, but hey, we got some good fights here, man. Shichiro Suzuki against Kleber Koik, who had previously fought, who was it? Patricio, I believe, at last year's end of the year show. Roberto D'Souza stepping up here. Koji Horiguchi going to be back as well. The best, if the UFC is going to start an atomweight division, Sika Izawa is the girl to go ahead and to add. I'm going to put that out there right now. 14-0, RIZIN atomweight champion. Very young prospect. Huge fan of her. This is the card that Ryan Garcia versus Rookie Onpo was supposed to happen on, not happening. But we still got other names. Jose Shorty Torres coming back here. We love some Shorty Torres on this show, man.
Against Makoto Shinryu. That was a guy to... Was it a Kyoji who fought?
I believe he has fought him.
Yeah, Kyoji fought him. Hermoso Kabuo fought him.
Yeah, so there we go.
So entertaining. And on top of that, even the people we don't know, these people, like these Japanese fighters, guys, like they'll come out and just bang for you. Like they'll come out here and just fucking fight, which is pretty awesome. They won't always be the most technical, clean matchups, but they are very offense focused. You know, coming forward, kind of relentless. You know, they show that fighting spirit.
Yeah, I also got to give a shout out to our friend of the show, Nate, for this man right here, Tengenshi Satoshi, former sumo champion in 2019, coming back for his fifth pro fight. He's 1-3.
He won his last fight though.
He's been knocked out 3 times, but he did win his last fight. You know, he's on his Akibono type shit.
By the way, did you see his opponent's name?
What's his opponent's name? King? Oh man, King Adipo?
Ed Polo King.
Ed Polo King.
He's Japanese. I'm assuming he's mixed from the way he looks. Oh wait, he's the same age as us.
And this is a sumo wrestler against
a Nigerian Korean guy who was a kickboxer.
Yeah.
Yes, you heard that right.
He fought once in 2015.
So
that's not real Japan shit that we're here for, man. That's not genuinely opening up the card. That's what we're here
Korean Nigerian mixed fighter who's a kickboxer who hasn't fought since 2015 is going to be fighting a 1-3 sumo. I fucking love this shit.
It's not real shit right here.
Not real shit.
Anyways, I got nothing else to say, man. I hope you guys have a good Christmas.
See you in 2025.
Whatever you will celebrate, if nothing at all. Yep. Have a good Christmas. Have a good New Year's. We'll see you guys next year. Hope you guys enjoy the pod and hope you enjoy the fights going down in RIZIN next week. Peace.